Time for another session from the CPR Performance Studio. I'm Alisha Sweeney. Sister band SHEL joins us now. The band's new record, Just Crazy Enough, came out on May 13th, and it charted at number 13 on the Billboard album charts. Hello, Holbrook sisters.
Hello, Alisha.
Good to see you today. Now, I should mention that there is a lineup today that is missing the S from the acronym of SHEL. So Sister Sarah is not here. We have Hannah, Eva, and Liza joining us today. So we should call you Hell?
You know, that's what Sarah says. She says we're hell without her. And we're super bummed. She got stuck up in Telluride working this film festival, which is amazing. But she was trying to get down, and she's real sad not to be here today. And obviously we miss her, but it's one of several shows we've had to do where a member was too sick or they couldn't make it in time. So
yeah, this is actually a better situation than what happened last time.
that's true.
Because we were in the Virgin Islands and Eva got sick, and we were playing this gig that was kind of our hookup to the resort that we were staying at. So it was like, we can't just cancel this gig. So yeah, Liza and I kind of had to cover Eva's vocals, and that was a trip.
I was listening from the resort, like up above. I was like, way to go, girls.
Yay. Well, that's what sisters do. They help each other out. I'm looking forward to catching up and hearing about the new record. But first, play us a song from Just Crazy Enough. What are you going to start off with today?
This is a little number called Let Me Do. You don't need a day when skies are blue. You want to be happy, I do too. So let me do what I was made to do. Let me do what I'm longing to. Let me say sweet things to you. Let me make all your dreams come true. Let me do. You don't need a bouquet of rare blooms. You don't need a flock of red balloons. Just let me do what I was made to do. Let me do what I'm longing to. Let me say sweet things to you. Let me make all your dreams come true. Let me do. I don't need a true cut diamond ring. I don't think about those kind of things. Let me do what I was made to do. Let me do what I'm longing to. Let me say sweet things to you. Let me make all your dreams come true.
SHEL in the CPR Performance Studio. That was Let Me Do, a song from their new record, Just Crazy Enough. Now, last time you were here in 2014, you were starting to spend more and more time in Nashville. So what's the status now? Are you Nashville musicians, Colorado musicians?
Bit of both.
We're homeless musicians. I think if we had a home, it would be something like an airport or a van. But we are always going to be Colorado girls because, you know, we're natives. We were born here, and it's not something, how do they say? You know, you can take the girls out of the mountains. You can't take the mountains out of the girls. Something like that.
Yeah.
So Nashville is where you recorded Just Crazy Enough, right?
Yeah.
And tell me about making the music for this record. Eva, you write a lot of the songs. Does it start with the lyrics and then the music, or depends?
It always depends. Yeah, I think whatever comes first, everything that you create afterwards has to support what's there emotionally. I feel like most of the writing process is like trying to walk this really narrow little line that's made by this tiny little emotion that is basically surfacing in your life and your subconscious. And it's this thing that you're aware of day to day, and it brings this like inspiration. But everything that you're creating has to walk this little narrow line this emotion is created. It's the best way I know how to describe it. It's awkward, and it takes me a lot of time. I never feel like I naturally just land on it. And the process gets even more intense and interesting when you start the collaboration side of it.
Yeah, how about for you, Liza? You know, you do beatbox and play drums. Where do you come into the equation for the songs?
I've kind of come in at different times, different periods for each song. Eva and I, she'll be working in the Cuba room where we record some stuff, and where she writes a lot of the time. She'll be working on something, and I'll kind of come in and I'll listen for a little bit. And she's like, "What do you think of this?" So I'll help sometimes from the very beginning with some lyrics, or just giving her a rhythm to work with. So very early on, and then eventually it blossoms into a full drum kit thing, or adding beatboxing as well.
The Cuba room?
The Cuba room.
What's that?
Well, there's a lovely house that we stay at in Franklin, Tennessee, and inside this house, it's like an old historic house in Franklin, and just inside, it's just amazing. I'm trying to remember what year it was built, and I cannot. But inside there are two rooms. There's the cowboy room and the Cuba room that you can kind of like sit in and write. And the Cuba room just has these amazing wooden floors, high ceilings, and just beautiful verb. It's a small room, but the verb in it is amazing, and it's decked out in like a bunch of Cuban decor, basically. So it's nicknamed the Cuba room.
You concur, Hannah?
Yeah, it's fun to sing in there. We've worked on a lot of our vocals in that room because you can just let go and sing out, and there's some good reverb in there. It's easy to blend with each other, so we get really inspired in there.
Very cool. So you teamed up with one half of the 80s group Eurythmics, the Dave Stewart part of the Eurythmics, to produce this new record?
Yeah, we did.
How did this happen? That's amazing. It gave me goosebumps, actually, the first time I heard about it.
So I guess it is all about relationships. Our manager knows Dave's publicist, and they got to talking one day, and Dave's publicist said, "Wow, you guys," she's looking at the top hat that Eva usually wears, and she's like, "You guys have this circus theme going on. I bet Dave Stewart would dig this." And our manager was like, "Well, I'm sure he would." And so his publicist brought our CD to him, and within a couple of days, he had contacted our manager and said, "I want to do something with you guys."
So tell me about meeting him for the first time.
He's super crazy, and his voice is very soft. So when he's talking, you want to lean in because you're so fascinated. You're like, what is this man talking about? But he's just, I don't know how he sleeps at night because he's got so much going on in his head all the time. So we went to his office and he's telling us about this bank he's developing for artists and this musical he's developing. And on the wall, there are all these pictures, and they have like little, threads and things connected to them, and notes about, if he's doing a particular production, all these people he needs to talk to make it happen. And he's definitely a visionary. So there's a lot going on in his head all the time. And I think that time that we spent with him was really fun. I enjoyed later when we just like hang out and have like a martini, because that's his deal. And then the real crazy stories would happen, and you'd hear about his life growing up in Sunderland and the crazy things that happened to him when he was a kid, because he's just like an absolute weirdo. And it was crazy meeting him for the first time. We were all just trying really hard not to fangirl. It succeeded to some degree.
And a weirdo in the best sense, because
Yeah.
he had to be true to himself and be true to being an artist, which we loved. Like, it's really inspiring to be around someone he just knew who he was and had to pursue that. And, I think he is a true rock star, and that's just who he is. So
Well, and you guys are kind of weirdos and rock stars too. You collaborated together in London and taught a workshop called I'm a Weirdo. Are you a weirdo too?
Yeah, that was amazing. That was when we had invited a bunch of people to Dave's club over there. And this room was where Radiohead recorded
In Rainbows.
And so there's just a vibe about it. But all these folks came out, and it was just everybody had martinis. And we all sat around and shared our stories about, like what it means to be an individual or to be unconventional and to pursue something that you're really passionate about when, maybe people think it's odd or it's, it's not going to make you any money or it's not whatever, or people just flat out don't like you. And so Dave told us this story about when he was growing up, and he was stabbed 3 different times. And but when he was real young, like the kids at his school didn't like him. And so there was a time when they pinned him down and cut his wrists open with rusty can lids. And, Dave, he's just so quiet and chill about it. He's like, yeah, so I went and I was like, Mom, help, And we're like, wow, I'll never consider anything I've done crazy again.
Right. So, okay, working with him has been pretty life-changing for you guys this year. And just how cool is it that Billboard album charts number 13?
Crazy.
It's crazy. It's still kind of setting in for us. We're like, wait, we're on Billboard? What?
What? And so, much of who you guys are, you self-produce your music videos and a lot of your music in the past especially, and also your merchandise. Are you able to still do that now that your name is growing?
Yeah, we're still very involved with every aspect of our career. From the merchandise we choose, the companies we choose to work with when we're doing that. And then the music videos, obviously. Sarah's a huge part of that. But, film festival, whatever. But no, Sarah's a huge part of that. And we're still able to do all of that ourselves. And we really enjoy being that connected to every aspect of our career. We're kind of like a little miniature company with the 4 of us and then our team in Nashville as well. But it's nice to be that involved and not having to worry about somebody else taking over creative control of those things.
Yeah.
And Liza does a lot of our graphic design. So
Yeah.
she actually designed the last album cover. She does all our posters.
I like to hide Easter eggs in the album artwork, so if you want to try and find those, good luck to you. But no, yeah, I did all the album artwork with Eva's help on some of the concept behind it, and then
the pictures for the
and
album.
pictures, yeah. Well, we put the camera on a tripod, so that was kind of Sarah's and my working that out.
I think what we've been discovering is that if you're independent, you just have to roll with the punches. And it's wonderful because when we were on a label, you don't have that liberty. Everything is very bureaucratic and somebody else is in charge of your social media, yada, yada. And when we got off that label, it really gave us a perspective for how much power you have when you're independent. And so we've just been like even putting out this album, it was like a rush of our own personal creative visions and resources to make it happen. And it's not one of those things you look at and you're like, oh, I wish it was different. I wish we had more money or we had more people that we could hire to help. You just think, wow, we have an opportunity. Are we going to take it and do what's necessary or not? And I mean, that's it seems like it's that way with all careers, but you really see it, the opportunity, I think, expanding for independent musicians where there's so much you can do on your own. It's like, why wouldn't you?
Right.
Yeah, you just kind of have to dive in and go for it.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to play another song off of Just Crazy Enough, the sister band SHEL in the CPR Performance Studio today. This is You Could Be My Baby.
If you know the sound, then play the record backwards now. If you catch my drift, then listen till the needle hits. You
We heard the song You Could Be My Baby. So beyond music, let's talk fashion. You're on the road a lot for tour and you got some helpful advice. I heard about this advice you got from Emmylou Harris about packing for tour. What did she tell you?
Well, she said, she discovered that if you always wear black, it makes wardrobe decisions really easy. And so there was we'd been pondering that. It kind of became our dress code for a while. And then we watched this amazing documentary called The True Cost. And it's about the fast fashion movement and how it has really changed things and for the negative. And that there are a lot of people who are looking at it and being like, this is not good. The people who are making our clothing, it's not fair, they're suffering. And it's all for to accommodate this demand for cheap, affordable fashion. And so as a result, we have, as consumers, wardrobes full of clothes that we hardly ever wear and we get rid of right away. And so in order to make these clothes, really, it's really terrible for the environment. It's really hard on these people to demand that the price be that low. And I think everybody should see this film because there's so much more to it than my little summary right here. But watching it, we just we're watching it and crying and thinking about how it's just not this to have a lot of clothing. It's a luxury. It's not a necessity by any means. So we went further and just looked at there's this whole movement for slow fashion and people who want to see a change made and people who understand the difference that a consumer can make just by demanding that things change. And so we came up with this challenge called the Just Crazy Enough Challenge, and we picked colors that coincided with our album design, so black, white, and red, and we decided that we would do, and we added in blue. Blue was an addition. But we decided that we would do 8 key items and then 10 accessories, and that's all we would take on the road with us because we've been living out of our suitcases for the last 3 years anyway. So it wasn't much of a stretch, but what we wanted to do to raise awareness for the issue was also challenge our fans to consider doing the same thing and see how few clothes you need, and that if you're intentional about what you buy, it's easy to, it makes it easier. You have less laundry. It's quicker getting ready in the morning, and you can color coordinate a wardrobe of pieces that you love to wear. And then there's no clutter in your closet. And we just saw all these upsides to it. And it's been wonderful because we've been challenging some of our friends to do it and they really enjoy it as well.
So you've been doing the challenge, this clothing challenge that you've started up. All of you are doing it?
Yes.
And how long have you been doing it for now at this point?
It's been like a month and a half. And it's nice because the thing that we decided was we're not going to throw out all our clothes that aren't in the capsule because that'd be wasteful. Most clothes that you take to Goodwill or wherever, they end up in the landfill. And so the idea of wearing something out and then, patching it when you need to and really being thrifty about the way you shop, that's something we really love. So what we've been doing is refining our capsules. So we'll come home and it's summer now. So we'll maybe change out our jeans for a pair of shorts or whatever. And then we'll put all of our extra clothes in a box. And then it's when you need something new, you can go shopping. Or if you decide, I want to change the colors in my capsule, you have some things to choose from. And then even when we're on the road, we're still looking if I was still looking for the perfect blazer for a meeting or something like that. And I'd go to an antique, a vintage shop or a thrift store. Or I'm always looking at, now sustainable clothing companies that are ethically sourced. Because those are things that as a consumer, I want to support, but I don't want to walk into a mall and go to an H&M or I don't want to go to a Target or a Walmart. That's my whole little boycott right there.
Right. So I gotta know, we have time for one more song today. How do you balance being for sisters that have these personal lives but are also musicians in the same band together? How do you balance all of that, trying to be individuals yet you are a sister group together?
I'll say something real quick and then you can say something. I think there's the family relationship and our sister dynamic, and then there's the business professional side of things. And so a lot of times we're relating to each other on that professional side of things. We got to be here at this time. You got to catch this flight. I'll meet you there. We all take that very seriously. And then beyond that, there's grace for, you're not feeling well today. That's okay. We'll we'll charge on, like we pick up the slack, and there is grace there in that family dynamic, and then knowing what's important to each other and supporting each other in, dreams that are kind of outside SHEL sometimes too, but knowing that it all kind of works together. Like even with Sarah being at a film festival in Telluride right now, she makes all our music videos, and we know that this is important to her and that it actually benefits all of us in the long run if she's happy and she's being fulfilled in the things that she loves doing. And of course, we love the work that she does with the videos that she makes, and we're really thankful that she does that for us too. So luckily, so far, all of our dreams kind of work together. Like everything's been, it works.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I think you covered it.
Good job, Hannah.
Thanks.
Well, one more song. I'll let you guys introduce this one. It's SHEL in the CPR Performance Studio.
This is the first track off the new album. It's, I think, our collective favorite as a band. But it's called Is the Doctor in Today?
Hello, is the doctor in today? Would you tell him that I can't recall my name? I've been swinging from the stars so long, not sure where my mind is gone. Safe to say we're never really whole. Tell me, is the fortune teller late? I pawned a lonely life to hear my fate. I've been reaching out into the dark, beating on my quiet heart. Tell me, is anybody there? Is anybody there? Is anybody there? Well, I think I hear a voice calling out in all the noise. Is anybody there? Hello, is the weatherman awake? Would you tell him that I'm leaving home today? I've been waiting for the sun to shine, illuminate these crooked lines. Safe to say we'll always find a road. Tell me, is the child still alive? The one who used to look out through my eyes. I've been listening for her faded words, gentle voice I haven't heard. Tell me, is anybody there? Is anybody there? Is anybody there? Well, I think I hear a voice calling out in all the noise. Is anybody there? Is anybody there? Maybe you hear me late at night. I've been searching all my life. Is there anybody there? Is there anybody Hello, is the doctor in today? Hello, is the doctor in today?
I could see that song in like a pivotal, or hear that song in like a pivotal point in a film where there's rain and tears and everything happening.
Yeah.
The band is SHEL. They are in the CPR Performance Studio. Their new album, Just Crazy Enough, is out now. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you. This has been another Open Air session at 102.3 in Denver, 88.3 in Fort Collins. I'm Alisha Sweeney with our audio engineer, Dave Fender, Irvin Coffee running the cameras. And to find more Open Air sessions, videos, and podcasts, visit our website, openaircpr.org.